25th February and 18th of March next year, the good people of Abia, God's own state, will be electing a total of 36 political leaders. Yes, 36 of them, made up of 1 governor, 3 senators, 8 House of Representative members, and 24 House of Assembly members. Yes, they are going to be leading us from 29th of May next year. Talking about the governors, the chief executives, somebody said I should not be using that, of the states, who among them is going to succeed Dr. Okezie after his 8-year run as the governor of Abia State? For educational purposes, permit me to let you know some of them and in no order. Well, we have Professor Eliezer Uchikunne, the candidate of PDP. And of course, we are told that it is not yet uhuru for PDP in Abia State as a result of the controversies surrounding how the 3-man delegates emerged in Abia State. And last week, a lawyer who was my guest said that PDP may not have candidates in Abia State. I don't know whether that will be true or not. I'm not competent enough to say whether that will be true or not. They have said that the Zamfara scenario and River State scenario may play out in Abia State in PDP. Well, let us wait and see. We have Professor Gregory Ike Ibe of ABGA, and of course, it is not also yet uhuru for ABGA because 2 people, Gregory Ike Ibe and Chief Chiku Densi, are laying claims to the ABGA ticket. And beyond that, we're also aware that there is a controversy surrounding who the authentic chairman of ABGA is in Abia State. Well, we are going to see. Time will tell. We have from the Labour Party, Dr. Alex Oti, who contested in 2015 and 2019. One on the platform of ABGA and the other one on the platform of, I think, the same ABGA. We also have Engineer Enyinaya Nwa for the candidate of Young Progressives Party. Well, APC is also in quagmire and confusion in Abia State as the case is because 2 people are also laying claims to the ticket or governorship ticket of APC. While Ikeche Menike conducted his own primary at Chidebere Park, where he emerged the candidate through indirect primaries, Dr. Samson Uche Oga was conducting his somewhere also in Umuahia, where he emerged the candidate through the direct primary mode. We don't know who finally will be the candidate of APC in Abia State. We have 2 bishops also. I have 2 professors, 2 bishops. We have 2 bishops also. Bishop Sunday Onoha, a Methodist cleric, who is going to vie to succeed Dr. Okezie on the platform of ADP. We have Anisia Langba, born bishop also, Bishop Emeka Mwampa, on the platform of Accord. And of course, last and not least, Chief Mascot Ozokalo, a former chief of staff of Abia State, a former candidate for the House of Representatives in Aba. He is going to vie on the platform of the APP. Of course, there are other ones time will not permit me to mention. But among these timbers and calibers, thanks to Chief K. Ombadiwe of blessed memory, only one is going to become the governor of Abia State come 29th May 2023. And the question is, what manner of man should become the governor of Abia State? What kind of man should we look out for? Some will say it should be about the individual who should rule Abia. Abia is 30 years old, getting to 31, and there are a lot of misgivings, a lot of complaints that all is not well with Abia. I don't know what that means. And I have 2 very quality guests. One is a regular guest. Oh, the 2 are my regular guests. One is here with me and one is going to be joining me from FCT Abuja. Here with me is Mr. Nnamdi Elekwachi, a public affairs analyst. Mr. Elekwachi, welcome to the Village Square this evening.
Good evening, Doctor. Thank you for having me on the Village Square this evening.
I have a very, thank you. I have a very,
out there too.
thank you. I have a concerned Abian, and he is Honest Offor, welcome to the Village Square.
Thank you very much, Doctor. I am really very happy to be here this evening to speak with the good people of Abia State.
Thank you, Mr. Offor. Ladies and gentlemen, what manner of man should be the governor of Abia State? What should we look out for on who we are going to vote for? Will our votes actually count? As citizens and residents of Abia, what are we expected to do? Should we just sit down at home and lament and complain without taking actions? These are the things we are going to bring your way. Now, let me start with you, Mr. Elekwachi. Abia has had, I think, 4 executive governors. Can we say that they have lived up to our expectations without mentioning anybody's name?
Okay, thank you so much. By way of beginning, yes, Abia has actually had 4 executive governors, and when we say executive governors, we mean those ones elected yes, by the people, not the ones who held offices. But it's quite unfortunate in Nigeria, people don't hold office; they hold power. Those who held offices,
people don't hold offices;
yes,
they hold power.
Yes, they hold power. People who held offices or who presided over the affairs of Abia State as military administrator, what you call me lad. We for the first time in the history of Abia State, when the state was created in 1991, from 21 to 30 states, as Bangida increased it then. Abia was among those created in 27th of August 1991, and then counting from then to this time, you'll notice that Abia seems to still be looking for her ways in the wilderness, and it's not quite encouraging where we are. And I was happy at the time, about last 2 or 3 years, when Governor Kezi was making his speech, and in that address, he did admit that he was still striving, and he has not taken Abia to where he wished to take Abia to, and it speaks to something. Every 4 years, or let me say quadrennially, Abians are served with decision-making choice when it has to do with election, selecting or electing who, or recruiting leadership. And over the years, it seems not to have been favorable to the state. Since 1999, return to democracy. In fact, from 1991 creation, when we had not Obunayono, okay, Frank Ajebeno, Group Captain Frank Ajebeno as the first military administrator. It has been all about what policies and what policy direction would favor the state. Be that as it may, we've had challenges, and we've also had from this period I'm talking about. We've had a group Captain Frank Ajebeno, later Obunayono, the first executive governor of the state in 1992, truncated Third Republic. We also had the Miajo. We had Ikenwosu. We had Moses Fasonya. We also had Anthony Obi. We had Roger Zokalo, then T.A.O.J., and then now the incumbent. But the fact remains that where we are today, given our depth, the fact that Abia, let me say, the plan of somebody like Michael Obada to make, especially about where we are today, an economic nexus between the commercial city of Onitsha and then the industrial hub of Port Harcourt, it seems to be failing. I don't want to begin to talk about what actually used to be in the past and whatnot, but let me dwell chiefly now at the moment. The other day, I saw in the news our old citizens take to the streets, and they were demanding for gratuity, and they said gratuity has not been coming for the past 20 years. It means from the time Governor Ojo Okalo was there, 20 years is 2002 till now, and that happens to be the first term or the first tenure of office of Governor Ojo Okalo. From that moment till now, our old citizens have not been receiving their gratuity. Well, what it means is that we have not been taking care of our retired citizens, the aged population, some of whom may have fallen into one or the other old age infirmity. So it means we have a lot of challenges. And then looking at infrastructure, even policy, we will not say that we have actually go into the promised land, and then we will not say it is here to hold for us. Now 2022 comes, and 2023 is the electionary proper. It comes with the candidates across all the political parties. The most important thing now, the basic thing now should be, how do we assess this person? Do we go back to their records, or should we allow the primordial, sentimental, and primeval factors of where they are coming from, the language they speak, the local government they are coming from, whether they are Ohoho or whether they are Ungwa, to determine our future? Because we are even talking about the next 4 years from 2023, and
sometimes eight,
yes. But then, being that the constitution allows for only 4 years of a president, and then governorship tenure, which is still renewable, not more than once. We can only say 4 years for now. But then I think where we are today, if you look at Abia, I have been studying Abia state budget since 2018, and when you look at it, you see that the citizens don't even ask the necessary questions.
We shall come to those factors.
So I think our duty here should be to educate Abians, to make them, or to encourage what you call active citizenship, to own the process. It's not just about relaxing, sitting back home, playing football or drinking on the election day. It is all about us taking seriously this civic duty to make sure we select from these candidates the person with the requisite.
We shall come to that. Okay. What should we look out for in the candidate? Okay. But we have had 4 executive governors of Abia State. Can we say, that was the question I asked my guest here, Mr. Elekwachi, that they have lived up to expectations?
Okay, thank you very much, and good evening, Abia. Anytime I talk about Abia State, I get very emotional. I get very emotional because Abia is God's own state, blessed with material resources, blessed with human resources. There is absolutely no reason under the surface of the sun why Abia should be where it is today. If you look at Abia State, poverty rate in Abia State is 30%. If you look at Abia State, the rate of unemployment and underemployment in Abia State is about 62%. If you look at Abia State, Abia is the 12th most indebted state in the country. If you look at Abia State is the state with one of the worst infrastructure stock. If you look at Abia State is probably one of the only states that has not paid gratuity since 2000 or 2002. At least I am sure that since 2002, no retiree in Abia has received his or her gratuity. Abia State is probably one of the only states where a higher institution is being owed about 30-something months of salary backlog. And you ask yourself, this is a state that has received from federal allocation and other independent sources of revenue at least 1.8 trillion naira.
Trillion, or you said?
I'll say that again. 1.8 trillion naira. Yet we can't pay salaries. We can't build roads without borrowing. We can't pay salaries even without borrowing. We can't provide roads. We can't provide pipe-borne water. We can't build decent hospitals. Our schools are closed because we are indebted to teachers. So you ask me a question, have these people who have been governors done very well? Let's start from 1999. My answer will be no. If you compare where we are today against where we should have been, you realize that Abia has performed very woefully. We've been very unfortunate to be governed by some ruling elite that do not feel the pangs and the plight of the people. We are governed by some people who are insensitive to the plight of the masses. And that only can explain why schools should be under lock and key. That probably explains why pensioners will go months after months without their pension. That explains why probably, some people will be referred to as core civil servants and some are referred to non-core civil servants. It's unfortunate where Abia is today. Abia has become a byword for incompetence. Abia has become an example of how not to govern a state. When you are talking about states that are badly governed in this country, one of the first states that comes to mind is Abia. How did we get there? We got here because we have allowed ourselves to be driven by primordial sentiments, like my brother Elekwachi said. We've allowed ourselves to be hoodwinked and deceived by politicians who are only after themselves and after their own interests, not after the state. They are only there to service themselves, to service their interests, and to service the interests of the cabal and the establishment that has held the state down. No, we haven't done well as a state. The people we elected as governors, they failed us. They've only succeeded in feathering their nest and the nest of their immediate family and their political associates, while the state continues to go down every day. It is my prayer and wish that in 2023, we'll be able to make a better choice.
Thank you very much for that analytical views, laced with facts and figures.
Yeah.
He almost said what he said, that even our our mothers and fathers, all citizens who meritoriously served the state, have not been paid since 2002.
Yes, since 2002.
And that Abia has received 1 trillion. I didn't record it. I don't know the time limit, whether it is from 1999 to 9 or from 1991. I think he's going to explain that. Now, from what both of you are saying, one can deduce that it is a problem of leadership.
Yes.
And very soon, in a matter of months, we shall be electing new crop of leaders.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much. Let me begin by saying the House of Assembly itself, that's the 7th Assembly we have now, has not even done better. If you ask me, one, budgets are passed every year. Budgets are passed every year. As it does appear, some items still recur in the next budget. They are still recaptured in the next budget, whether they have been taken care of or not. The question now becomes: do we even have finance committee in Abia State House of Assembly? Do we even have finance committee in Abia State? Then what do they do? Now we are talking about a state that actually has a debt burden of over 70 billion naira.
70 billion
over naira. 70 billion naira debt. Now, each time a budget is passed, how much does the state expend in recurrent and capital expenditure? Then how much also does the government put in infrastructure? Honest just said something that struck me. You see, if you want to grow a state, especially a state like Abia, the best way to go about it is to invest in education, is to invest in infrastructure. But I can tell you that Abia State has never invested more than 6% of her budget in education. And it's as clear as day. And this is a state where, like he has said, most tertiary institution lecturers are being owed.
Some 36, 37.
18 months, more than that. Now, as we speak, the primary school, are they in session? Then the secondary school, you ask yourself.
Even the junior work was postponed.
The junior work, Abia is not doing junior work when other states have done their own. And I have someone who was actually affected. But then this state, the governor and the commissioners will go out to tell us that the best educational policy being put in place has actually triggered excellent result in WAEC every other year. But the question should be, how are we treating our teachers? The other day, I went for assessment to National High School. The students, both the secondary and the both the junior and the senior categories were less than 100. In fact, less than 50. Now you ask yourself, combinedly, how do we even begin to talk about this? So I think the most important thing is Abia prioritizing what should make it stand as a formidable state along the lines of what the sustainable development goals. But the question is this: are Abians was truthful enough? Are they even desirous? Are they even desirous of owning the polity? Are they making attempts? Are they making an attempt to save the state from what scholars call state capture? So to me, I feel we are not doing more. And 2023 is here. Like I have said before, we shouldn't let primordial sentiments take over our judgment or be glad our sense of reasoning. Because if you look at it, as I said, Abia happened to be the only state that was created to take care of the industrial and the commercial need of the Old Eastern region. When Michael Okpara was actually building all those industries we have in Aba,
all right,
when he was doing all the infrastructure, and then unfortunately, Michael Okpara governed 9 states today combinedly, but those states were under Old Eastern region. There was no oil, there was nothing like
just agriculture driven. All right,
but then the people we have today are not able to grow the economy of the state, nor to build infrastructure and then take care of other needs.
Mr. Offor, the House of Assembly members are supposed to hold the executive, that is the governor, accountable, are supposed to find out whether budgetary allocations are properly utilized. For example, these roles you mentioned, there are budgetary allocations for them. Education has budgetary allocation and all that. And then here we blame the governor and we make no mention of the House of Assembly. Can we say that the House of Assembly members are really doing their jobs well in this circumstance?
The answer to that question is to say that unfortunately, we have not really had a House of Assembly that you can say is independent. What we have had in reality is a house that is an appendage of the executive. You have a house that is a rubber stamp that only is there to say yes to whatever the executive wants. And I'm going to give you certain facts. And this is without prejudice to anybody who is in charge. Okay? If you look at the 2020 budget performance of Abia State, there was a post I made some days ago. In the budget, it was budgeted for procurement of vehicles, something around 240-something million. The office of the governor ended up spending about 1.2 billion on vehicles. If you check it, you realize that the executive overspent. So being able to spend above what is budgeted for is actually an infraction that should be punished. It was also budgeted that there were going to be procurement of generator sets for the Abia liaison office. From what I saw, that particular budget line of vote was actually also exceeded by over 700 billion. So you realize that at the end of the day, the house that is supposed to exercise oversight on the executive is not doing their work. Why is it that the house has not invited the finance commissioner to at least tell us why it is difficult to pay salaries and pensions? Why is it that it is difficult for the house, for instance, to ask why it is difficult to pay gratuity in our state? Can the house tell us how much was budgeted for instance, how much was budgeted for to construct the flyover that took the state so many years to be able to complete, and how much it now ended up spending on it? We were here when Fox Road, a 4.7 kilometer road, we spent so much money to construct the road and it failed. And then they came back to say we need more money to be able to do some palliative work to bring to correct some of the problems on the road. And nobody asked them from the beginning, why did the road fail? And why are we spending so much on this particular road? So the problem is that unfortunately, the house has become an appendage of the executive. There is no independence. There is absolutely no capacity on their side to be able to hold the executive to account. I want to be able to understand any successful investigation that have been carried out by the house and the sanctions that actually. Who has the house sanctioned? Has the house sanctioned anybody for performing below par? Has the house been able to call anybody to say it's not just about trying to pass budget? In terms of being able to look at the budget and doing the analysis to find out that, okay, we budgeted for this in this year we are budgeting for the same thing. Why are we also trying to spend this amount on what we have also spent on before? Nobody's asking that question. So the truth of the matter is that if you look at our state and where we are, if we have had houses or House of Assembly that has been able to live up to their expectation, we will not be where we are today. The only reason why we are here today is because there is really nobody who can hold the executive to account to say, you guys are not doing what you're supposed to do. And that is why the state is where it is today. And until we are able to elect people who are fearless, they will continue to have this problem. Unfortunately, we have a situation where the sitting governors, of course, when they are coming for re-election, they choose who should be in the house. And even when they are leaving, they choose who should be in the house. And of course, because these House of Assembly members understand that their future depends on these guys, they will continue to be loyal. Blind loyalty is something we must do away with. We need people who should be courageous to tell truth to power. We need people who are independent-minded, people who will have, the courage to be able, and the fearlessness to be able to say the truth to power. Unfortunately, we do not have that. And that is why Abia is where it is today. And I'm asking the people of Abia State to shine their eyes when it comes to electing House of Assembly members next time around. Because if we do not have a house that is independent, we'll continue to have an executive that will continue to take Abia people for right.
Yes,
Thank you.
Go ahead. Yes, I would want to add something to that. You see, the problem we have is that people are not even taking seriously the issue of the House of Assembly itself, just like he said. Some time ago, a certain commissioner came out to talk about what happened to Paris Club refund, and then also how past government went about the issue.
A certain past
yes,
commissioner.
Yes,
he was on this show.
Yes. How they talked about inflation of contract figures and whatnot. The House of Assembly said they were going to investigate that matter. That matter is still with them. Again, we know that somebody some persons who felt they were related to the government of the day or the people in charge, we were told, and the news was actually from the grapevine everywhere, that these persons came up with the idea of small and medium enterprise bank.
Yeah, SME Bank.
Yes, SME Bank. Today, the billions and the monies allocated for that very project.
Some money was already allocated and it disappeared.
Exactly. The House of Assembly also again said, we are studying, we are intervening, we are going to investigate this matter. When I talk about public hearing, see, accountability in democracy must be made public. There is nothing like secrecy in democracy. Whether the House has been able to publicly try these persons and say this is our findings, nobody can tell. And that is why I say the 7th Assembly, as we have it today, has even felt worse than the executive. Because in a democracy, the power does not lie in the executive. It lies in the legislature, because even the governor has a representative there. The governor is one person.
They are the ones that represent the people.
Yes,
Should speak for the people.
The governor is one person and has only one office. But at the legislature, you have 24 members of
representing all the constituencies.
Yes, and then it's not even beyond them to say, Governor, appear. We are passing summons. We are inviting you.
All right.
We are even beginning to do what to even talk about impeachment. We've even had cases where a certain member from Abia here had been talking and shouting about Port Harcourt Road and the monies spent, even the World Bank loan and the rest of them. I don't want to begin to go deep into those details, but I think Abia, we have a lot of challenges. Abia, we have also a choice to make come 2023.
All right.
Whether to continue this way or not.
Good. Whether to continue this way or not. We've lamented, we've pointed out these problems. They have been there. Mr. Honest Munachim, for you've been speaking very honestly. What is the way out?
The way out is that we must tell ourselves this, and we must be sincere about where we are. Okay? We must be able to tell ourselves the truth. And then we must decide to do away with primordial and mundane sentiments that have not served them. Okay? We have at least been able to go around to say the governorship should come here, should come there. We have tried everything. If elected, we've tried the very young people. They've not done so well. We've tried the old ones. They've not done so well. We've tried the very educated. They failed. We've tried those who are not too educated. They also failed. So the question now is, what should be the minimum requirement for the person who should be the governor of Abia? And this is very, very important. Because it is only in Nigeria that people decide to put in the hands of people who are not very qualified the most critical jobs to do. Yesterday and today, I sat in a board to interview some persons for a position. And there were minimum requirements we are looking at from the candidates who actually sat for that interview. So we have people who are vying for this position. And we must be able to set certain standards, minimum requirements that they must possess to be able to lead our state. And what are those requirements? For me, I am particular about competence. Competence is the ability of someone to be able to translate vision into reality. Competence is the ability to be able to get the job done without giving excuses. Competence is about the ability to be able to show us that I've done this before and I'm going to do it if I get in there. I keep saying this, that leadership is not a place where you learn on the job. When you are elected into a position of authority, you don't learn on the job. You hit the ground running. So we are tired of seeing people who will come to learn on the job. We want people who are ready, who will hit the ground running on day one, who have a program that they are going to start activating and implementing from day one. And also beyond just competence, because if you have someone who is competent and but doesn't have character, it means you have simply put a smart crook in charge of your affairs and the person is going to look you blind. So beyond competence, we also need men of character. Someone that has character. Character is a measure of a man's integrity. Character is a measure of a man's ability to keep to his promise. Character is a measure of a man's ability to do what he says he's going to do. And we must be able to look at all of these persons who are contesting in this election to ask ourselves, who among them has the integrity to be able to perform as the person has promised? Who among them has shown or demonstrated capacity and character in the person's individual life? We also need someone that has courage. We cannot overemphasize the importance of courage. A man once said that he is not afraid of a pack of lions being led by a sheep. That instead, he is afraid of a pack of sheep being led by a lion. So what it means that one person can actually make the difference if the person has courage. The time has come for us to have that leader who will have the capacity and the courage to step on toes. The establishment and the system in Abia is anti-progress. Until we pull down that system, Abia cannot make progress. You don't have a situation or a system where we service the greed of a few while the needs of the people continue to suffer. We must have that one man who will be able to look these old look them in the eye and say, enough. We are drawing we are drawing a sign on the ground and we are saying no, enough. We are drawing a line on the floor and we are saying we are not going to cross this line again. The resources of our people must be used to service the needs of the people and not the greeds of a few. We also need a man who is honest and sincere. And importantly, Proverbs 29 verse 18 says, without vision, the people perish. We have a dearth of vision in Abia State. It is lack of vision that will make a man build a lone flyover and the person is jubilating up and down while his colleagues have built tens and dozens. We need people who will have vision, men of vision, a man that will have vision, a man that can see tomorrow and lead us there. Leadership is simply being able to transform vision into reality. So anybody who doesn't have vision shouldn't be the person that I like to consider. So I've mentioned competence, I've mentioned character, I've mentioned courage, I've mentioned vision and fear of God. And of course, if you look critically at these people who are there.
Mr. Elekwachi, he said enough is enough. My first question was, what is the way out? The second one is, how can we say enough is enough?
We can say enough is enough is to make or take an appraisal of the states. Ask ourselves, since 1991 we began this journey, where are we? Are we where we're supposed to be? Then if we are not where we are, we should be angry enough. That is part of responsibility. We should be angry enough to vote out the elements we feel have actually imposed this system on the state, and we vote out those we feel are not qualified. We drain them out of the system. That's just the best way to go about it. Then again, I think talking about solutions, there is what we call active citizenship. It is the duty of everybody, including this place where we are today, to educate people, to know more about how to make choices, to know about how to recruit leaders. It shouldn't be about this person answers my surname or comes from the same town with me or something. It should be all about what? Active citizenship. People taking active responsibility or taking active role in governance, and then again we should also make sure we scrutinize these political parties, make sure we put it on the House of Assembly, in fact put put them on their toes. We have been docile, and that's the problem with the state. We have been docile, all of us. All this while. Why would the state assembly not? In fact, how many times have we even heard their own session? Do they even make known to us the Hansard, the other paper, and every other thing, including the business of legislation known to us in the public? So these are the questions we should also be asking.
Let's get back to Mr. Munachim on it. For Mr. Offor, so in very simple language, what should Nnamdi do? Just make it as simple as you can be for the common man there to understand your message.
Thank you very much. My simple message for Nnamdi is, Nnamdi, go out there, get your PVC, and get ready. Next year is an opportunity for you to decide your future. The next election that is coming is the most important and critical election. It will decide not just your future, it will decide the future of our coming generation. It will decide whether the Abia will move forward or whether we will continue to be stagnant as a people. It will decide whether we will have a government that will pay salary or a government that will continue to make excuses. It will decide whether our senior citizens will continue to be treated as deadwoods or whether they will be treated with the dignity and respect that they deserve. It will determine whether we can have a state capital that will be befitting in word and in reality. It will determine whether our artisans in Aba can have access to the capital they need to be able to do their business, and whether they can have an environment that boosts and supports their business. It will decide whether you can have a state that will be proud to call our own. So please, I'm advising all of us, go there, get your PVCs. And I can assure you that the next election will count. INEC has taken necessary precautions to ensure that this time your vote is going to count. Your future is in your hands. The future of Abia State is in your hand. The future of our board children is in your hand. You are the one that can decide your future. And I also want to advise you that if they give you money, you cannot sell your future today. You cannot sell your future tomorrow just to gain today. Whoever is giving you money to vote, the person just wants you to sell your future today. And if you sell your future today, it means you are mortgaging tomorrow. And if you are mortgaging tomorrow, you are not only mortgaging your future, you are mortgaging the future of your children unborn. Let us take this election very seriously. Let us accord it the seriousness it deserves. And let us do away with sentiments that will not pay us. Abia Governor doesn't determine whether the person is going to work or whether the person will not work. It is not that important. For those of us who are parents, our pensioners understand that whether you are from Isukwato like myself, in Siobingwa, pensioners are being paid. If you drive through the roads in Aba, whether you are from Okwa or whether you are from Uzuato, you drive through the same bad road. So bad governance does not discriminate where you come from. All of us will become victims of bad leadership if we decide to make the wrong choice tomorrow. Abia, Munachim, Ikono, Ejimaha Chineke na Ariono, Kanyi Mezi Abia, Kanyi si ha na ozuola, na ọchịchị ọjọọ ezuola, na eji ogwe ezuola, na arụ ụzọ ezuola, na arụ hospital ezuola, na akwụ ndị teachers ogwe ezuola. Let us together, collectively, change Abia for good. I believe that it is possible. It is within our power. And God helping us, Abia will experience a new level of life. I trust that together we will make the right choice and decision that will place Abia on the path of irreversible growth and development. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please don't go away because the reactions are coming soon from the public.
Yes, I'm calling from Fox Road.
All right, go ahead with your contribution. You have a minute.
The area I want to talk, Doctor, is I am very confused. Since 1999, we have not gotten a very qualitative governor to take care of this state. Both on those their guests, they are talking the reality. But this time around, I don't know if you have gone through the manifesto of all these governors. What they have, most especially this Ukumango of a thing. Right from time, all the governors have been doing campaign, doing shadow job, that's Ukumango of a thing. Even Obasanjo spoke about Ukumango, every day Ukumango, every time Ukumango. Up to today, the water is still there. Every rainy season, the traders are suffering every day. Are you trying to tell me if you were to be in Uyo, or let me say, Bayelsa, River State, and some other neighboring states, that water wouldn't have been taken off. Pay some people compensation. Take that water to water side. What type of governance are we having in this state? Must we continue to suffer? What is their manifesto? If anybody can do it, I think it's better for us.
Thank you. Thank you for your contribution. He's talking about Ukumango. This Ukumango we've been hearing. I wouldn't know the kind of mame water that is there that won't allow Ukumango to be repaired. I don't just understand.
Okay, my name is Chibundo Okechukwu.
Go ahead, sir. You have a minute.
So, sir, I'm very happy with the discussions we are in the studio this evening. They are speaking the heart of the Abians. But the problem is we are not sure of the Messiah among the people that find us today. Because everybody comes with a promise, but at the end of the day, we fail. The current government have failed. Who is the person to bail us? Without asking your own question this evening. But with the people present today, I have not seen the person. Thank you very much.
Thank you for making it very short and very brief. How do we know the right person? That is just the issue. Hello?
My name is John Mark, calling from Ezekiel.
John Mark, go ahead, sir.
Sir, please, just what the last caller just said. That's the problem. Like for me now, I've gotten my PVC. But who do we vote for? We are afraid of all this, or we are afraid of them. These are PDP, APC, APOGA, YPP. Who do we vote for? We are confused. Who are we going to vote to liberate us from all this hardship for Abia? Everybody's crying. You're tired. But who do we vote for? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do you want to react, Mr. Elekwachi, to that?
Yes.
What kind of person? How do we know?
Yes, I think it's not even a rocket science to do a background analysis of someone. In the past, or we are Igbo. In the past, there is that question. Onye. That's the background analysis. People who we must vote for are those who have proven track record, excellent and nobility and noble in character.
All right.
Not people who have not even been able to manage a business, who have not even been able to in fact do anything meaningful. Not all the political jobbers. We all know the truth. The fact is that how strongly enough can we detach ourselves from this?
More calls are coming in. Mbagani.
Yeah, because when yes, we are the annual down with you and that is an honorable or that thing that I think was a water according. I want to go governor Abia State. No, you know, I could come on by this and then can chat to that. So I'm back with that. Now, yes, now, that is to do, maybe they are. I have gone on Yakatai where I can't help in a chat at stage. Other things when I'm mad, I will be deeper. The money and the moderate chat. So, what can I do to support the car plan? Yeah. No, I could be able to chat at stage to make that the dog at the money. Even a better idea, no one on a better. I gave out one association. The better I have to command the folks studies. This is the mother. Anyway, it doesn't express, but when you go in there, you have to get them when you're not chair, or you can win a chair. So, the mother said, they don't sit in for one of them. When I have to be go, you know, you go get a to the worker. Can you get a car and you hope to make the afternoon? And to be about so you can.
You may not know, cook it them man, no.
This is a regular color.
Charcoal, I guess.
Yes. You know, understanding, if I may say, I would say that other states does not have this, have not been this lucky to have a leadership, honestly. During the creation of other states. But we believe that this electoral law that they turn into law, you know, this is what is why we have been thinking that our vote will not come. But this law now they turn into law. We believe that our vote will come. So what I think that will bring change to everything is for everybody to go and get their PVC. And you know, with all this authorization, until now, there have not been issues for people to go and get their PVC. To show that all these are our leaders, these people that want us to vote for them, let them go and talk to INEC. Let INEC make this thing easier for us to get. That is what I want to say. Everyone should go and get their PVC.
Thank you very much. Yes, in answer to one of the questions, the view I'm going to express is my personal view as Stanley Nduagu. not the view of Stanley as the presenter of the program, or the view of the Village Square, or the view of Real FM. My own view is that any aspirant or candidate rather who has been found to be part of the problem of Abia today should be given no chance. That particular candidate you see that has been part and parcel of the problem of Abia State from any political party the person has gone to shouldn't be given any chance at all.
Exactly.
That is my own declaration as the village head. Don't give them chance. All those that have held us down, that have contributed to the state we are in today, don't give them a chance. We need a new crop of people. Ladies and gentlemen, that is my personal view, my personal opinion. And with that, I say thank you, Munachim Offor, for being part of this show.
Thank you very much.
All right. Mr. Nnamdi Elekwachi, thank you for being part of this show.
Thank you so much, Doc.
Ladies and gentlemen, Abia is our own Abia. We have roles to play. Obtain your PVC, come out and vote. Vote your conscience. Vote who you feel is credible. Vote who you feel has the integrity. Anybody that has contributed to what we are passing through in Abia should be given no chance. I repeat, that is my personal view. Thank you very much for being part of this show this evening. And let us do it again next week on Monday. Remain law abiding and God bless you.